you're around here. You're like me. You're going to become something that just appears at the Salford unit all the time.
I'm like a rash.
I'm like gonorrhea.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Bit smelly.
Oh yeah, especially around the edges.
Welcome to the Graphters Podcast.
Hello, John.
Hello, Gary.
How are you?
I'm good. We're on video again.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Honestly, I do blame Emily for this. I really do. We will get used to it at some point. Looking into my camera is always going to be the hardest thing because I want to look at your face, which is there, and our guest's face, which is there. But I'm going to keep looking here as much as I can, and I will put my glasses back on because
I think there's definitely a market for having a camera that can take the other person's video and put it up next to the actual lens.
Oh, you mean like a little camera either side of the... Ooh.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be good?
Or a camera right in the middle of your screen. No, that's not going to work.
That's got to be possible at some point.
Well, it should really be. It should be the screen actually is the camera. Now, that would be good.
The camera.
Because then that would take all the problem out of it because you'd just be able to look at people. I remember watching old films and you'd see someone standing to the side of a screen and they're looking at it with their face at an angle and the person on the screen has got their face angled as if it's looking at them. But that's impossible because that person's live action person is looking at that.
Well, it depends who does the edit. I mean, because if you do the edit, you'll get it right. So if I'm like looking like this, so Gary.
Yes, John.
No, you're.
Oh, hang on. No, that's right because That's right because I got them the wrong way around on the last recording because
you see
I've
you're great
got to be
at
on this
editing,
side of the screen,
but you're rubbish at the visual.
No,
so,
John.
Yeah,
John,
exactly.
the other way. Go the other way.
I am the right way.
No, you're not.
I really am.
No, you're not because
I am on my camera.
No, you don't get it. No, you don't understand, John. We're not going to be seen on these cameras. We edit it together, and I'm on the right-hand side, and you're on the left-hand side because I have right-hand audio.
So we need to do it the opposite way. Okay,
yeah,
so I'll switch seats.
So
you sit in that seat.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But on our screen, we've got our backs to each other. Oh my God! Oh,
I would say this video has definitely injected a little bit more fun.
It's definitely. I wouldn't quite go that far. It's made it slightly more of a debacle. I think I didn't think that things could become even more complicated, but we've managed to make it even more complicated. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're here. We're alive. We're coping. We're getting through this.
We are.
I don't know how we're getting through this. To be honest with you, if I didn't know better, I'd say the person who's quietly sitting in the background has muted themselves. Because I would have thought that I'm
giggling away.
If she hasn't, then it's a surprise for all of us. What have you been up to, John?
It's that time of year when the students are showcasing their work.
It is.
So I started out at Nottingham Trent University, watched the animation students doing their. They did their presentation in Nottingham in the big Cineplex. It was great. Yeah. That was really good fun. Then down to University of Hertfordshire to see Neil and David Tree and the guys down there, which was absolutely awesome and mind blowing once again.
Doesn't surprise me. Those guys, the stuff they do is incredible. And Neil basically said, I saw Neil put something up on LinkedIn that said, just want to say, really great. New bunch of students have just gone straight into ILM, and you're like, oh my Lord, they'll have the jobs that I wanted years ago.
Well, it was great. I spent a bit of time with K9 Digital as well, with Ashley and Tia, fabulous company that they are doing character creature creation, doing a lot of work at the moment. They are taking on several interns directly.
All right.
And they were snatching them from under the nose of ILM and Disney.
Wow.
Because they've been working with them from like year one.
Got you.
And I think there's a little bit of maybe a tale to tell there to some of the bigger companies. You need to get in earlier because, the reason that these guys are so good is they've got seriously good industry mentors just taking them through that.
Yeah. Makes such a difference.
And I managed to get over and see the guys down at K9 Digital as well, have a look at their studio, which was super cool. They're literally in the middle of nowhere. Literally. It is the middle of nowhere.
No problem with parking then?
Not at all, no. couldn't get the bloody electric charger to work. But never mind, that's another thing. And then I've been down to see Escape Studios because it's been the VFX festival. So that was really cool with our friends at Wacom and HP and AMD.
Yeah.
I got to meet the CEO of Wacom, Nobu, and he gave a talk, which was quite inspiring, actually. You know, he was talking about what drives the company, what drives him and the company to create such great products. He did a few spoilers. There was a brush. Wacom brush pen, like a brush,
Like a proper brush.
Brush.
It's not a pen. It's a brush.
Brush.
So when you do that, you get the strokes and
you get the strokes feel brush. Yeah. I think the geeks in the audience got it. Really did.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. He also showed off some VR stuff that they're doing as well. So there's a VR Wacom pen that you can take from VR straight onto the tablet, which seemed pretty cool. And a few other things. Most important, there was some really good... I didn't get to see the showcase, unfortunately, because they'd split it over the week and I just didn't have enough time. But I did get to chat to some of the graduates and do some portfolio reviews, which were awesome.
excellent.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then I've not been down... this week it is the last one for Staffordshire University, so I'm down at GradX on Friday and I will be doing some judging for the environment art, so that's going to be cool.
You have set yourself quite a task to get all this stuff done, haven't you?
I'm very tired, but it's worth it. It is worth it. I mean, it's it's about giving back. Yeah. It's about the next generation. It's about them understanding what's going on.
It is that thing about getting, isn't it? From getting the students to understand the reality of what this is like once they leave, and give them as much help as possible in that time. As soon as that lead time from going to leaving university, getting a full-time job is such a massive gulf, isn't it? From getting from there to there, and there's a lot of stuff where you need to just help people
and you know what I'm like. I'm always pushing the podcast into people. So it was really good. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Taylor. At Escape Studios, who kindly found me some way to charge my phone yesterday, and then shoved her portfolio underneath my nose for a full review, which was brilliant. And yeah, I managed to do a bit of comparisons to how Bob Ross would do stuff, with colour. She's a lighting artist.
Did she have a big lot of hair like that?
No, she didn't. She was really cool.
You mentioned Bob Ross. It's all I can see now in my head.
Cam had colourful hair. I'll give a shout out to Cam as well. Cam had colourful hair, but both of them were in the audience when Nobu was there, and he asked for some questions, and they gave some brilliant ones. So it was really good to see. I mean, the people from industry, we were all like, nobody wants to really say anything, but yeah, the students went straight for it, which was cool.
I have to say, the ones that talk, the ones that are fearless, the ones that talk are pretty much the ones I think who are always the ones who sort of like seem to go somewhere. I'm not just doing a degree. I actually want to engage and do something with this.
Definitely, yeah. But there was one animation that was so cool, which was it was Pinocchio but with birds. The animation, the prop design, the concept of it all was just brilliant. Was it, that was at University of Hertfordshire, and that was my standout for standout.
It was University of Hertfordshire. It's like every single university who does their stuff, they should be looking at Hertfordshire and going, "We need to do that." What are they doing? What are they doing that makes them that most of the tutors are from industry?
Yeah, they
That's
are.
It.
They are. Gennaro, the mentor tutor that's been on our Discord, and he's doing a lot of Maya mentoring at the moment. He's put a post up recently just asking the question. I'm pretty sure it was him that put it up, but it was some. If it wasn't, I apologize, but it was definitely something to do with: are students being asked to do too much?
No.
In what they have to produce in those final months.
No,
and I think he's got a point that some looking at some of the length of some of the animations or things that they've done, I think if they'd have had a shorter animation, they would have probably got a better result out of the back of it.
I mean, I think the argument is 50-50, because I think that if you really want to do something and you're engaged in it and you're enthused by it, you give it 110%. And I think if you're doing a degree and you've reached that point where you just don't care anymore, you don't give it 100%. And I think that's...
But you don't only do the product, do you? You do a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah, well, especially in places like Hertfordshire. In fact, I will say this. The person we have coming on, I saw them at an end-of-year show, and even though they were also doing their own stuff, they were helping out somebody else. And in fact, if they hadn't been helping out somebody else, I never would have seen them. So I'm quite pleased about that. But yeah, it is that thing. You're doing stuff for other people. You're always there trying to help other person there, another person there. But you fully have to engage in what you are doing. Otherwise, if you don't give this thing 100%, how can you, possibly do the best you can?
I'm not saying that they don't give 100%. What I'm saying is that I think specialising in and giving 100% to one specialist area would probably pay off better on a portfolio showreel than having a watered down 30% of something that's much bigger, and it's difficult to actually extrapolate out what you've actually done to that thing in itself.
I think it might be worthwhile, if we ask this of our guest. What do you reckon? Because
I definitely do. I mean, I like to be controversial.
No. I don't think it's being controversial. I think maybe we're both looking at it from old gits who have been too far away from this.
Never been to university.
Oh, that's right. You haven't, have you?
No.
I keep forgetting that.
You have to remember, I am literally pre-YouTube school of read it yourself, figure it out.
But at the same time, you're also a guy who actually ran courses teaching 16 to 18-year-olds how to actually do stuff to a level which actually, in some cases at the time, was better than some university stuff that I've seen. So you are definitely
I like to think so.
Very, very capable, John. Let's just get that completely clear.
Let's wheel in the guest.
Right, so basically...
For whatever's happening on screen.
This is the screen guest. Hi. So, can you please introduce yourself and tell us, basically tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes. Hello. I'm Sophie, and I'm a motion capture actor. I graduated last year from Salford from the Theatre and Performance Practice course, and now I am surviving as an adult and attempting to create a career in the industry as an actor, Mocap Actor, voice actor. I act. I haven't got that already.
It's fantastic, and thank you so much for coming on. John and I are really, really, really happy that you're here. I think sometimes everybody assumes that when you think of visual effects and when you think of, a lot of this stuff, you forget that there's a very, very human side to a lot of the animation. And I think that's something that we'd really like to discuss as we go a bit further on down the conversation. But I've got to ask, can you tell us, it can be as long or as little as you like, how you got from basically being a kid to being where you are now?
Yes, absolutely. So I grew up as a child and I liked books, as most people do. They grow up, etc. Liked books, loved storytelling, was a big reader, and I used to make comic books with my sister in the playhouse that we had. We used to make little comic books and magazines and things and write stories because that was just what we wanted to do. And then I went through high school, and I quite liked English, quite liked how the teachers taught it, the storytelling side of it. Did my GCSEs, got my English Lit and Lang, did drama, had a fun little time with that one as well, because you could just be anything and you could use your imagination, and it was really good just to be a bit free for that time in school, which you feel a bit confined when you're doing high school. You're a bit, I've got to go to this lesson and then this. But that was a time to play. And then I decided to do it for A-levels. And at that point, I was a bit between English and drama. They were both storytelling. Like, did I want to write? Did I want to do drama? So I did them both at A-levels, and then I looked at it for universities. Drama school was never on the radar whatsoever. That just didn't seem like a place I would be as a nice little person who doesn't want to make any fuss. being in a big, stars, bright world of, I can sing and dance, I'm a triple threat, I'm a quadruple threat, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't do that. So I went to university because I liked talking about things and intellectual conversations and writing stories. And I found that the drama courses were actually more sort of active physical play, whereas the English and drama sort of combined courses, we just sit down, read Shakespeare. And it's like, I'd rather get up and do it than read it because it's a bit dry on the page and it's just more fun to get up and play. So I looked at the courses and I just said, we'll just do theatre because that's fun. I looked around for one that had like a combat element because that sounded fun. And I couldn't really find one that was like, here's combat and theatre and lots of other different things. So I found Salford instead, which was a range of different acting techniques. You could do radio, you could do Shakespeare, theatre, context of like performance with like new trends. You could do, I've said radio, TV, theatre. What else was there?
Theatre twice.
I said that
You
there
lose
was
a
a
point.
lot of theatre on such the course.
Yeah.
So yeah, went there. First year, I should say I didn't finish my A-levels. COVID struck, which I was quite happy because I was not doing well at German. So yeah, A-levels was canned because of COVID, and I went to university during COVID. So I was stuck in a little box on Zoom trying to do theatre, and that was not
now I feel
ideal.
guilty we've brought you in a little box to do a podcast.
Get me in a studio. So yeah, did that first year on Zoom and then partially in person. They managed to get us in slightly larger boxes that were about 10 foot away from each other, so we couldn't touch each other but we could see each other, so that was nice. And then second year rolled around and that was like, you could pick your modules, you could do writing, you could do study this play, you could do your radio, TV, whatever, shake it about, do what you want with that one. And then third year happened and I found there was actually a little room next to the TV acting studio with a couple of guys in, and it had a big green screen room, and it also had lots of strange little cameras around the ceiling, and they had lots of these strange little suits that you could pop on and run around in, and it was just a crazy space. And then you got translated onto a screen as a werewolf or a Valkyrie, and I thought, what is this? And she was motion capture, and I fell in love with her. And I wanted to do that forever and ever and ever. And so I kept bugging, for want of a better word, Jake and Connell, who were the technicians, to come in, keep having a go. And it sort of ended up being lots of collaborations with game students and just people wanting to use the studio and not really knowing what they wanted it for. We had, I think, Daniel in, who made a werewolf rig and wanted to see how it worked, and that was just really cool. So I was just sort of going around the studio doing my little best werewolf impression. And then it sort of, third year kept happening with lots of the modules, and it was a good time. And then the dissertation rolled round, and it was, you could choose what you wanted to do. You could do an industry placement, you could do the classical, write however many ruddy words. So there was a lot of writing, and I didn't fancy that. And I didn't fancy a group project either. You could do like a play, but we had to do one of them anyway. So I was like, no, it's my grade. I'm not having somebody else jump on that and mess it up for me.
Yeah.
And so I decided I wanted to do like a portfolio piece. And my research question was, how do I become an actor prepped for the industry? So it was just an excuse to get my headshots, show reels, spotlight, my entire portfolio ready for after graduation, and also get graded on it and do a load of research into what the industry wanted from me. So I did that, got a great grade, came out with a distinction or like first honours, nailed university. And then
University.
Very good.
Yeah.
Next, please.
The real world.
Mortgage.
Oh God, adulting.
No. 54. I haven't started yet, and I'm never gonna do that.
It's not happening.
Adulting.
I'm just going to resist. Absolutely not.
It's not even a real word.
Ugh. Yeah, there was actually an opportunity that came through the university saying that Doc 10 wanted a couple of students to go down and do some motion capture for them. They weren't looking for a white female. You may have noticed I am a white female.
Surely a mocap artist, it doesn't matter what they look like.
It depends. It's
You see, there may have been some funding attached to that then might have, been a requirement to have been not of white origin.
Possibly.
And it depends on the story of the character as well. Like if you're doing The Last of Us or something, and your character goes through lots of, specific things that somebody who is white may not have gone through, it's probably better ethically to get somebody who's slightly more truthful and.
But I mean, this strikes at the heart. I don't want to get into a big race thing, but it strikes at the heart of discrimination. Even if it's positive, it's still discrimination. And surely the best person or the person most willing should be the person put forward.
The person who's most capable.
Role.
If there's 5 people who go for a job and they're all different, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they look like, what they sound like. It's more about what they're capable of doing and do they fit in with the team, and that's it. That's the way I always.
It really is, yeah.
Exactly what happened in that there were no females who were pretty much suitable. Nobody was available to do it who you could be that specific with your requirements. They said, oh, we've got Sophie, she's got a show reel, she's done motion capture, she's just graduated, you can have her. And I was like, yes, please have me, please invite me. And there was also, they just wanted a guy as well. They wanted a boy to come and do another one. They wanted a girl and a guy to go down, do some motion capture. And it ended up that we went down, did this sort of mocap stuff, and the guy that I was with was Joe Cottam, who's a lovely guy. He's a lovely second year now, and he'd only done one motion capture session with Connell and Jake. He'd only done it once before, jumped on the opportunity, good for him, and he managed to.
Serendipity is a very big thing that if you're not in the place, you're not going to be in the space.
Quite right.
What a great way of putting it.
Yeah, put yourself forward. And then, then Doc 10 kept asking me back for motion capture stuff. And then I started getting paid for it. And yay, it's starting to become a little career. Which is wonderful. Fantastic.
That's the thing, isn't it, really? At the end of the day, it's like, something you love becomes something that you came to by accident, becomes the thing which you do all the time.
And let's just think about, Andy Serkis hasn't done too bad out of it. And he no one really employed him for his acting roles until after he'd done the mocap. And I mean, Zoe Saldana as well, another one that, took acting into the digital realm. And Sophie, you know what's going to happen? That they'll be putting courses on this next.
They are. They're making a motion capture module at Salford for next year. Yeah.
It's interesting though, because as we move further down this pathway of like digital actors, and for want of a better use of the word, digital avatars, because obviously I'm not talking just about Avatar. Because Gollum was this like first kind of like step in that general direction, but then you look right now at one of the most popular films at the minute, which is which is the most recent Planet of the Apes film? What's it called?
Is it Battle for the Planet of the Apes?
Yes, I think it is Battle.
It's something like that. Well, yeah, it's like a play on.
Yeah, it's one of those for the Planet of the Apes.
The meme that's out there, it's like,
but the quality of that, you look at it and you go, oh, that's just amazing visual effects. But it's not. It's incredibly good acting and motion capture.
Now, here's my question to you. Gary. What? If motion capture actors could be that good, what happened in Doctor Who with all of the Cybermen?
The Cybermen,
because they were people actually on screen, and they didn't look as convincing as maybe motion capture version of them would have.
Because it's Doctor Who.
We have to be careful here, Sophie, because we're stepping We're stepping on Gary's dreams.
Oh no.
No, not really. Not really. Although I will say,
love
if we are going to
Doctor
talk about Doctor Who, I will talk about the most recent stuff in a minute. And you'll be surprised at my comments. But the thing is, you have to remember that if we talk about Doctor Who, you've got to go back to where it was and how the monsters were. And you look at some of the ones, well, pretty much anything from 1970 up to about 87, 88. Yeah, probably 88. It was always a man in a suit, and it was terrible. But if you look, it was absolutely terrible.
But Godzilla wasn't.
No, Godzilla wasn't, because it was one man filmed with a high-speed camera with tiny models. By the way, if anyone hasn't seen Godzilla -1, they have to watch Godzilla -1.
You have to watch it. You do.
Firstly, because of a very small team of 20 visual effects people who actually did all of the stuff that won an award. And their faces were this little room where these guys got the award, and they were jumping for joy, these people. It was like, yay! It was absolutely wonderful. But I watched it. I finished watching it today. I started it very briefly last night, and then I watched it this morning, because I have about an hour or so where I just do anything I want. Don't do any work, just that. And I finished watching it this morning. I cried at the end. Really was beautifully done. I just burst into tears. Because it's I don't want to say anything to ruin the ending, but it's Godzilla lives, or does he? No, it's just a really good film, really well put together, and that was not a man in a suit, but I think some parts of it were motion captured. But it is about the fact that Doctor Who, you look at the old stuff, and the Cybermen, there were 10 Cybermen, and they were filmed walking, 4 or 5 times, and then composited one behind the other. So you got this kind of like staccato, not quite all walking together, Cybermen. But I do think the point is, you can actually get Sophie and somebody else to do a bunch of walks. Just a couple of people just doing all the walk, and then
suddenly they're a crowd. Yeah. I think where I was going with that, was, it's better, I think, to have an actor play a role as a motion capture artist, because they have been trained how to replicate that role over and over again, and make that role a part of themselves, so that
which is the reason why the stuff that happens in blah, blah, blah for the Planet of the Apes is so good. It's because they've got particularly good actors, And if you can act, you have to
17 months in the jungles of Borneo or wherever the chimpanzees live, just being them.
Well, yeah. Or maybe spending time with ones in zoos, which is probably a lot easier.
Yeah, maybe.
So, Sophie, just out of interest, so what motion capture systems have you been doing mocap with? Because I'm assuming the one that's at Salford is different to the one that's at Dock 10.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, they've got all sorts of different ones, really. So you've obviously got the Vicon system, which is the nice cameras and such. And then you've got Accent suits, which are, again, the sensors are now in your suit, so you don't have to worry about your tennis balls.
My tennis balls.
Your little tennis balls.
Always get trouble with my tennis balls.
And then I've also recently done Rococo, the Rococo suits, which are very similar to Accents, in the sense of the sensors are in the suit, and it all sort of works. But you can actually strap yourself into those ones instead of it being quite so skin tight, which is a nice change.
So less climbing into Lycra, more applying body armour.
Yes, right. Pretty much. Okay. Although it's still a suit, and you strap the suit to make it tighter to you. But yeah, you've still got a bit more breathing room. So do you feel that, do you find yourself overacting? And I've got to be careful, because I know that's, you know what I mean? Do you find that do you think it's more like stage acting than it is, say, for like TV acting? Oh, for sure. So absolutely. Yeah. Facial capture is a completely new thing. On screen, you can be, that close up, and you can just be like, if that is not going to fly on a facial capture system where your phone is, there for you. And it depends on the avatar as well. Like, if your character is has a huge head and their face isn't quite matched to yours, you've got to go big Jim Carrey style stuff to get their stuff to read on screen. So whilst it can be a bit different, so if you're on like a metahuman, for example, that's going to read slightly better, like regular facial features, to if you're in, a rhino monster that, you've got a huge snout or something, it's going to read slightly different. So although I think are overacting.
I think a lot of what Houdini have been doing recently with some of their rig controls are designed to retarget and actually give you the ability to exaggerate, to make it a little bit more comfortable for actors to actually do the job, because I think there is a lot of fatigue going on with motion capture artists, that how many takes they have to do and the amount of effort that they're putting in just to give the reference that's required by the systems. But it's such a fast-moving field. I mean, it's such a fast-moving field, and now we're moving to a point where I'm going to mention it, AI is starting to be used without the suit.
Don't.
But I mean, surely that will be still a good thing.
Look, I'm going to say this.
Because I go back to that point of, if you can act the role, then you'll be doing the job anyway.
Yes. But I want to point something out, because I heard something this week, and it really typified it for me for AI. Someone had put, I don't want AI to be all creative while I'm doing the washing up. I want to be creative while AI does the washing up. And I think that's the thing. We need to make it so that the AI is doing the things that are just literally the boring stuff. And the real creative stuff is being done by people who can be actively creative without just being derivative.
Yeah.
My God. I nailed it.
That was very smart, Gary. Write that down.
I don't need to do it. I've just recorded it.
LinkedIn
or
post.
if I press
Don't
delete,
you dare.
I haven't.
Push the button. Push the button. Push the button.
Yeah.
No, so it's like, but there is that creativity, which is very important, which has to come from people. It can't come from AI, because it's always, the AI can only learn based upon what it is given. Whereas we can learn because we can dream. And because we can dream, I mean, I had an idea for something, which I'm not going to say a word about, because it's balmy, but it's balmy because it was literally a dream. Computers don't dream. I'm not having it. I don't want them dreaming, because the moment they dream, they'll realise that we're not needed, and that's it. We'll be in big pink flasks in huge columns, and we'll be plugged into the Matrix and all that malarkey. I'm not having it. So yeah, have you done any game stuff?
Not yet. Nothing official. I've done lots of game student stuff, so I know what generally is involved, and the training at Salford, the technicians, the lecturers, they play games. They know what you need sort of to make a game, etc., etc. But yeah, nothing game related as of yet, which I'd love to get into.
And Manchester's got some big motion capture studios. I mean, Cloud Imperium have got a huge motion capture studio.
And they're not far from Media City, are they?
Not far at all, no. They are on the edge of that Salford city area limits. So there's
Hello, my name's Sophie.
Matt, Mr. Wilson.
Oh God, yeah. Well, get him on. Sophie, two big fists on the door. Hello, I'm here.
Did you hear me on the podcast?
Did you catch me?
I will send the podcast link, and I'll whatever point this is at that's relevant, and we've cut his name out so we don't embarrass him.
Yeah, of course we have. But we still will. But he will always beat me at pool. He's very good at pool. He said, "I'm all right." He said, "I thought, oh God, here we go. He's going to completely wipe the table." He said, "Do you want to play another game?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, that's brilliant." Everybody else always says no.
Yeah,
after they played one game,
let's
play one game.
Let's just call him Fats Matt.
Yeah.
The pool shark.
He is a pool shark.
Or Uncle Phil.
So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so obviously you've done all these bits and bobs. What's been the worst case scenario? You don't have to name any names or anything, but what has been the worst thing that's happened to yourself while doing this stuff? I mean, what's been the worst day you've had? Has there been one?
I don't think so, honestly. Like, it's one of those ones that I love it so much. You can tell me to walk around in a circle 100 times in a day, and I'll do it with a smile on my face, because I genuinely love what I'm doing. It's it sounds a bit cringy and a bit weird, but and it has happened. Like I've gone in to calibrate systems and things, and I have walked around in a circle 100 times. They go, "Oh, sorry, Sophie," and I go, "I don't mind. I'll do it again. Shall I go for another walk? Shall I T-pose again?" Because it's I love it, and like I love the people that I get to work with as well, and they're so lovely about it. There's just so much respect for me being new, as it were, in the sort of industry, and it's just so supportive and lovely. So I genuinely can't think of any bad days at all.
That's awesome. So I've got a question because I don't know you, unlike Gary, who does know you and your family. So have you sold this to your parents? Because obviously this is kind of like, obviously when I was working at the colleges, we'd do parents' evenings. People come in, I want to make video games, and you've got mum there going, it's not a real job though, is it? Like, yeah, it kind of really is.
Well, they had a second daughter who's a medical student, for want of a better word.
You get a free pass then.
Free pass.
Yeah, wicked.
Plus free healthcare for the rest of your sister's life.
Free healthcare. I break my leg doing a stunt, Louise.
Not a problem.
How do I fix it?
Go to the hospital, you stupid.
Yeah. In all fairness, they've been really supportive about it, and I've always been one that I'm going to do it on my own. I don't need help. I can manage. So it's, if I'm happy, healthy, surviving, and I've got a part-time job that pays the bills, and I'm still smiling, I'm not miserable, then they've been lovely and supportive about it, and like particularly following something creative is just nice.
Yeah. So the next steps, you're probably plotting out quite a very new. I mean, obviously, motion capture's been around a while, but you're plotting out into a new trajectory that's probably not as well mapped, as well trodden as your people coming out of acting and going into going through having agents and everything else. Off to RADA, darling.
I'll have you know I trod the boards for many a year.
But there's going to be opportunities if you know this field and love this field so much to, I would think, go into creative director, and then into supervisor, and these are big numbers. But you're probably going to have to go south.
Yes, perhaps.
I don't think that's a bigger thing, though.
The north is. I like the north, and there's a lot of things happening up here as well that I'm sort of attempting to get my sort of little claws into, and the people surrounding it.
Yeah.
But if I do have to
it's like massive down south. I mean, it's already there. Yeah.
If I start drifting, the family are already there to sort of crash out for a little bit.
Wicked.
And it's if I can get the sort of career, I'll be right.
This is sort of going back to the sort of the geolocation of some of the universities does give a hell of an advantage to the graduating students who are on the doorstep already in that bubble of it's bloody expensive down south. I mean, £4.40 for a can of Coke. You having a laugh?
I really hope that's a joke.
It wasn't.
What?
No.
£4.40 for a can of Coke.
Is this in a pub?
No, this was in a shop.
What, like a cash and carry?
Yeah.
What?
No, it was a sandwich shop type thing.
£4.40 for a can of Coke?
Yeah. Mate, honestly, I was like, you're having a laugh there,
is
aren't you?
Is it a can actually full of cocaine? I mean, how is that £4.40 for a can of Coke? Please, world.
It was
right.
Expensive. It was almost as expensive as, Watford Gap services.
Honestly, this is ridiculous. I went into one of the local shops today in the village. I got myself a meatball and melted cheese hoagie.
You have literally just said a meatball like this.
John. A meatball hoagie. Meatballs.
Hoagie.
In a hoagie. like a big...
Like a Subway.
Yeah, like a Subway, yeah. Melted cheese, nice tomatoey sauce, £4.50. And I think that's bloody good value. It was massive. It was definitely filled me up.
Is that £4.50 with the can of Coke?
No can of Coke.
I see. If you had the can of Coke, it would have been £8.
But if I hadn't had the can of Coke, it would have been 10 pence.
So that's that's definitely that's quite exciting. That is quite exciting. Obviously, your parents are on board; they're supporting, but then you've got all these, these cool opportunities. I think moving forward, and you certainly, you read as a very proactive person, so it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to watch your career unfold. Do remember us when
no pressure.
The red carpets are on.
No pressure, Sophie. We're here.
It's all good. I'll be popping round to Gary's for a roast.
What?
I'll give you a roast on the podcast, no problem. If you've not sent in tickets.
It's not that kind of roast. Do you feel that? I mean, I think we kind of touched on this when we first started just talking. Do you feel that when you left Salford, you had enough preparation for what was going to come afterwards?
Work.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Okay.
And I will tell you for why.
Tell us for why, Miss Stewart.
You'll get splinters, Sophie, sitting on that fence.
I know. I've got to sit on it, otherwise I'll fall off one side and the other side won't like me.
Choose a side. Just choose a side.
Don't choose a side.
I know. So the degree, did that prepare me for work? No. The degree in and of itself, absolutely not. Like, the degree was, you sit down, you write essays, you read a play, you stand up, you know how to breathe.
I was going to say, your breathing is very good, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, like, the course was a lot of practical things, how you do act on screen, how that acting is different from theatre. But there was very little, like, on the course that was, you have to do this, that is going to prepare you for the world of work. There was a wonderful sort of network at Salford called Careers and Enterprises, and they put on lots of real life sort of workshops into how you create a CV, how you do this. And they're a service available to all the students, but nobody really makes use of them. So in my first year, I was sat in my tiny little shoebox of a student flat doing my lectures and then going, well, what do I do now? So I signed up for a load of Careers and Enterprises workshops and learned how to do a load of stuff then. I think they've since made it compulsory because it's worth it. But there were so many things around the course that could prepare you for the world of work. I've literally just gone back to Salford to get my money's worth, to do a business launch, like, incubator. So they teach you how to make a business and they teach you how you're supposed to do it, which you don't get taught on your theatre course. You don't get taught, here's your minimum viable product and how people might actually want to buy that, and how you make it into something that's amazing and you can sell it and market it and all of that. Freelancing, that's exactly what that is.
Selling yourself.
You have a service, you sell it. So, and at the end of that, I've got a grant of £1,000 to start my own voiceover business. Like, come on, there's so many things around the course that people don't know about. So you've really got to go seeking for the little crevices and the little pockets of money that you can get back for those COVID years. And really make the most of it.
I was at the MPTS show down in London a couple of weeks ago, and there were quite a few voice acting service bureaus available, showcasing their work. So that was quite interesting. There's some big discussion as well about how AI is affecting that market space as well, obviously. But there was some cool stuff that I shared about Wacom, just some of the technology that they're working on, which is to create a fingerprint in every drawing that's done on a Wacom tablet, so that it cannot be copied. Or if it is copied, it can be traced back to you, which I thought was fantastic. It's sort of a DNA thing.
It is. You need someone like that for voice actors as well. Tim, one of the moderators on this on our Discord, Tim said, "Could you just read this for me, Gary?" And I read out a passage for him.
That was a fun afternoon of little voice notes that came through.
I had no idea. I was like, I just didn't twig. I didn't twig, and I can't believe I didn't twig. And I was like, I said, Tim,
none of us did.
What is this? This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And then this thing came back saying how much I loved Autodesk Maya and I hated Blender. Which, and that's the first,
and it was his voice.
It's my voice. 54 minutes and 30 seconds in, John, I said the word Blender.
Yeah. And Nobu said Blender yesterday, which was awesome. I was like, I'm sat in an audience, and the only other software that he mentions is Blender.
Come on! Yes! It's taken over the world,
Yeah.
and it's free, people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's free.
It is.
I was wondering how you'd get it in.
Yeah, I was wondering how we were going to get Blender in today as well, Sophie. I really was. I thought it would have been me with Nobu's story, but no, Gary managed to hijack it.
I always do my best.
Have you ever
to hijack
used
this.
Blender, by the way, Sophie? Is it anything that you've ever come up? No.
I haven't used it personally, no, because I am
You've
dreadful
watched it being-
with
you've watched it
computers.
being
Yes,
used?
I've watched people, the wizards, who know how it all works and know what.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yes,
You're a buzzard,
those
Barry.
guys. They're amazing, and I'm just sat here going, "Is that me?" And they go, "Yeah, you're gonna. That's your movement going on there."
Yeah, it was really weird actually.
Nice.
When, can I just say actually, Sophie, is that when I went to the show at the end, which was the one when I bumped into you when you were standing on a plinth in your friend's your friend's costume that she'd made, which was incredible, by the way,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. Love it. It was really thick wool, that wasn't it? It was like I was really hefty
Emma,
stuff.
she did an Anastasia dress.
It was
as
wonderful.
it were, sort of like Russian inspired.
Oh,
or
right,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, not
I was
the
thinking the
musician.
singer then, and
no,
yeah,
not that
yeah, I
Anastasia.
Yeah, I was like,
Gold.
yeah, I can't remember what any the particular standouts
Yeah,
there.
no, I prefer my Dolly Parton.
Lady Gaga, maybe.
But when I was there, I was downstairs and I looked at all the BAs and I chatted to Annabeth and to some of the students. And then I walked into where the MAs were, and the MAs work obviously is better than the BA work. And I'm looking at this werewolf moving on the screen. And I just went, "Is that motion capture?" I said, "Because that's really good." Yeah. No. There's this there's a girl who does a lot of the motion capture stuff around, and I went, "Oh right, okay." And then when I went up and spoke to you, and I was like, "Oh, this is great. What have you been up to? Blah blah blah. Fantastic. Well done. I'm so glad you got a first. Blah, blah, blah. Wonderful." And then I think I saw you on LinkedIn about 2 days later, going, and I went, "Oh my god! Sophie is the girl who was the motion capture for the werewolf," and it was just like fantastic. And that's great.
The good thing is, Sophie, they're doing another season of Wednesday, so, more werewolves to come.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers
I
crossed.
mean, I'd be more than happy to break into sort of creature performance, which I'm already sort of there, to be honest.
When you're doing the mocap, are you involved in every single part of the process, or are you just there in front? Are you behind the screen ever at all?
Not particularly.
No?
Literally, it's Sophie, go and stand over there in T-pose. Go for a walk. Calibrating. Okay.
Calibrating.
And then,
Calibrating.
and then yeah.
Calibrating.
Do you get a script beforehand? And do you get some like direction beforehand? Right. So here's where we are, Sophie. You're in a rainforest.
Yes.
Okay. There's been a plane crash, and you're coming down to investigate. You're one of the
Yes.
monkeys. Now, act.
Yes. Bring it right out. Curious monkey archaeologist can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fabulous.
surely it's easy.
It's got to be.
Training has prepared me.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, scripts, and then it changes on the day. It's really helpful when I get a screen that I can see my avatar on, because if, for example, like the arm calibration is a bit funny halfway through, like my wrist flips around or something for some reason, if I can see my avatar, I can act through it and sort of make sure you either can't see it, or I can switch my body slightly better so that it looks good on screen. I might look insane because I've got my arm like that and like that, but my avatar's still walking okay, so we can just about make it work. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, it just looks good on screen, and that's the main thing. So when I get like a screen that I can see the world, I can see the avatar, I can go, oh, there's a tree there, I probably ought to walk around it, and things like that. So I don't usually get like big pieces of set or anything, or big props. No. Although I have had a play with things like shields and swords and stuff, which are very fun. But other than that, it's a case of, right, that tennis ball is the eye line, and you've got to imagine the avatar that's on screen is there, make it all work. And it's really handy, and because it's such a different form of acting, it's so fun, because you just sort of like, oh, okay, that's doable. You adapt on cue, sort of, which is wicked.
That's really cool, actually. That's really cool. You mentioned radio drama. What have you been doing with that? If you don't mind me being a nosy git.
Yeah, go for it. So, my good friend Sydney, lovely Sydney, she got a scholarship after she graduated from Salford to make her own radio company, a production company. So she's created 2 radio dramas just after we graduated. We recorded all the lines. We had When Death Sleeps Near and The Reminiscence of the Heart. That's what it was.
Ooh, how do you forget that? That's a great name.
It's a wonderful name. So one of them was about a ghost in the woods. I played the ghost and I had lots of screeching and screaming, which was really good fun. It's just, let your guttural crazy lady out. So she goes and people go camping. She haunts these people. It's an excellent listen. Would recommend.
Great, Sophie. I'm camping on Friday. Thanks.
Just don't go near any haunted woods and you'll be fine.
Whitby,
where Dracula landed.
Yeah, and then we had The Reminiscence of the Heart, which was about 19th century York and a love story that happened between sort of like a upper middle class girl who went to explore the streets of York and fell in love with sort of a guy, and then just said, begone family, I'm not marrying that rich silly person. I would rather have my lovely...
Bit of rough from York.
Bit of rough from York.
That's what we want.
It was really lovely. So yeah, she's got Sky High Productions, and that's her little production company. She's made music videos now. She's made a short film with that as well, which is The Faint Melody of Lunar Waters, which is fabulous. Another horror. She's good with horror, is Sydney. She's a horror girl. Yeah, but she knows what she's doing.
Hey, Sydney. Yeah, well, I can imagine. Yeah.
Hey, Sydney, that's from Scream. You were doing a Scream.
Yeah, it's from Scream.
I got that one.
Good.
Nailed it.
If it's not a quote from Jaws or Blackadder, I'm a bit rubbish. Or Monty Python.
We can do Monty Python.
We can definitely, yeah.
Yes,
A strawberry!
A strawberry!
Where are the lights so say? Aki, pretend! Very quickly, before we go on to the quickfire round, actually, Soph.
Yes.
2 things. Is there anything that you would like to... Because normally we ask this of people who have been in the industry, have been in the industry for ages. But is there anything in particular that you would like to go back and tell your younger self?
Get your money's worth. It's a lot of money. You're paying, $9,000 a year? Like, there are so many nice facilities that they don't tell you about. Go and find them. Use them. There is a whole, medical role-play suite in a different building that you will never have access to. Go and find it. For the nursing students, there's a medical suite that they've used on, Holby City in the building across the road. I went and did a load of student films there.
Yes.
Go and find the nice bits of campus and use it because it's there for you. You're never, ever going to be able to get it in the industry. People graduate and then they go, I want to make a film. Oh, we don't have any cameras. And you're like, well, why didn't you make it when you were at Salford then, when you had access to all the fancy stuff? You didn't have to, pay to rent it out because you were paying $9,000 a year anyway. You just had to make sure, you don't break it and all of that stuff. It's not that difficult. It's really not. Don't be scared. Go and ask people. Go and be like, have you got a podcast room we can use? And they'd be like, yeah, we built one a month ago and it's not been used yet. Go and find the nice equipment and use it.
John, we need to go and find that room.
Well, that takes us on to the point that Harvey was saying from University Arts Bournemouth, UAB. Yeah, and they want us to come down and do a live podcast with the students and the lecturers, but using their podcast stuff. It was like, maybe we should
go and do it.
Absolutely. I mean, we will.
Yeah, and I think if we do that, then we definitely need to do a few of the others that we've given sound bites to.
Yeah, it would be good, and it just would be good, really. So if I'm going to ask you a few quick fire questions, if that's okay.
Wicked.
There won't be many. And I'm going to try and keep this as accurate as possible because I'm going to be pulling things out of my derriere as I'm going along, just to warn you. So, firstly, favourite film. What's your favourite film?
I like The Cat in the Hat.
The what?
It's
Dr. Seuss.
It's Dr. Seuss. Mike Myers, Alec Baldwin. It's a comfort film. I can watch it on my period and it's just hilarious. It's so stupid. It's a children's film, but it's got adult humour in. It's not a cinematic masterpiece. It's not an acting masterpiece, but it's just stupid and it's fun.
Yeah.
Unlike The Grinch with
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Jim Carrey,
which is not fun.
Acting masterclass.
Do you play computer games at all, Soph?
Yes.
Do you have a favourite?
In the sense of my partner's got an Xbox and he downloads cute little games for me.
Nice.
The best one, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. You run around as a turnip. Your greenhouse is going to get possessed by evil Mayor Onion, and you hate tax. He's possessing your greenhouse because you haven't paid your tax. So you go around running around after all his errands, and every time you find something that mentions tax, like a love letter that's like, oh, I can't wait to love you and live with you and pay tax together, you rip it up because you're an angry little turnip. And it's amazing. In the second one, you rob a bank. That
sounds like the same people that put together the script for Sausage Party.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah, it's like, looked so good, and then is this really what we're watching tonight?
It would appear to be. I don't think I want to watch Sausage Party. Favourite sandwich?
I'll have a ham sandwich.
Just a
ham sandwich, straight up, with a packet of crisps on the
No
side.
mustard.
No mustard.
No. Sophie's
mayo.
never had mustard in a ham sandwich and liked it.
No.
Never.
No, ham sandwich.
You've had the wrong mustard.
No. Sophie's eating habits are. Sorry, Sophie. May I?
No, they are.
They're very.
Please do.
Can I use? There's only one word to describe Sophie's eating style. Plain.
I'm a plain Jane.
When it comes to food, do you know when a little while ago she said, "I'll come round to Gary's and have a roast."
Yes.
Roast dinner. Roast dinner is the best meal in the whole wide world, but not. It can't be right though, without a certain person's Yorkshire puddings.
I do have the recipe.
Have you really? Have you made any yet?
I'm not bad at them. I'm very good. I have actually updated the recipe to do an entire bowl of Yorkshire pudding.
You mean like Toad the whole job?
Put the dinner in this bowl of Yorkshire. It's immense. Yorkshire puddings. Yes.
Have you told your mum about this?
The trick to doing a bowl, the trick to doing the bigger Yorkshire puddings, being a Yorkshireman, is just thin your batter down a little bit more than you normally would, and get your fat a little hotter.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Because it's gotta go quick and up the sides.
Yes, John.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm a Yorkshireman. Listen, if I want Yorkshire puddings, I've got to do them myself.
Do you know what? I love making Yorkshires, but I can't make them near your mum, Sophie, because they'll never be good enough.
You're not from Yorkshire.
They'll never be good enough. Where's your mum from?
Up north. She's from Lartington.
Lartington.
Sounds like Lancashire.
Lartington. Where is it? There's another L. Up north.
Leicestershire. Loughborough.
No.
Lartington Hall.
Lancashire.
Yeah. Where was that one that... Was it
County
Michael
Durham.
Gove? County Durham, that's what it is.
She's in the northeast leg.
Yeah.
Blimey.
From the northeast. To be fair, they probably do a fair bit of the old Yorkshire puddings.
A nice plain ham sandwich. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're doing acting.
Yes.
Would you like to do any directing? Do you think?
Well, I'm currently producing a play for just before the Manchester Fringe, and I'm not doing very well at it, I won't lie. I've given it a go, and I've decided it's not part of my skill set. So directing is sort of betwixt those two, directing, acting, producing, creative eye. Maybe one day on a very low budget thing without a lot of pressure. But yeah, acting's my deal.
Right, so-
I can do acting. I know what the director is saying.
We might be able to facilitate a little bit of a directorial thing in CGI.
Yes. Ooh, okay. If it's virtual production, I might be able to get away with it because I've got wizards who know what they're doing.
Have you?
And they go, Sophie, don't do that. And I go, okay, cool. Can we try a different
I
shot
can be
then?
one of your wizards. I'll be a minor wizard. I'll be a Rincewind. I'm not going to be a Yeah,
Yes.
I can cope with Big and
Bring
Richard.
Ginny as the luggage. Dress her up in a little bag.
Ginny as
She'll be the
as
luggage.
the luggage. Oh my days, that would be great. Can you imagine all those legs on her, John?
You see, I would have put Gary Moore down as the bursar.
What with a box of frog pills?
Dried frog pills.
Has he taken his frog pills today? Dried frog pills. No, sir.
And who are you, John?
With your hair.
Who would John
With your
be?
hair right now.
Two flower.
I would definitely be Two Flower.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, he'd be two
I
flower.
was thinking more Mad Hamish, to be honest.
Mad Hamish.
Oh,
Or maybe he's Cassanunda.
as long as I'm not foul all wrong, I'll be fine.
Bugger it! Millennium Ending Shrimp. There's going to be a load of people out there who know what the hell we're talking about. And a load of people are like, what the?
But they definitely need to go and find
Yeah,
out.
well, they do.
Yes. Read it.
Yeah. May he rest in peace, Terence of Pratchettshire.
Terence? I cried when he died.
I did.
Same. And it wasn't. I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I've met his daughter a couple of times now as well, and she's fabulous.
You'd like her, Sophie.
Yeah, she
She
works-
writes
she-
computer games.
She
Produces.
she does a lot of cool stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's brilliant. If you had a choice then, what would it be? Games or films?
I want both desperately, but
That's them splinters again.
Oh, the fence.
games.
Games.
I want games because it means I get access to swords and guns and stunts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and you can be werewolves.
I want to be werewolves. I want to be
Yeah.
Valkyries. I want to be beheading people. It's just, in games and things, it's just, yeah. It seems slightly more stunty than broadcast and film and such. Perhaps.
It depends. I think if the full on acting is the more motion capture, I think in film is more full on acting.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with games, it's about. I saw something. I saw it was it must have been for Final Fantasy or something like that. It was a girl who's on a weighted weighted arm, and she was being lifted up into the air and doing like poses and stuff, and then and the guys were reacting to what she was doing, and it was just you're like, that looks so much fun.
I want the tuning forks attached.
That's what it is. Yeah, is that what they call them?
Yeah, tuning forks.
Oh
yeah,
wow,
I
that's a
think
great
what
name.
they're called.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Learn something new.
And I've got to ask it because if I don't, I'm going to regret this.
It's not the podcast.
It's not the podcast. It is the logo after. I'm doing it again wrong because it is the logo after all. He said, turning the wrong way. Just don't look at the dog hair. Don't look at the dog hair. Don't have a white dog and then have a black top.
So Gary needs a white hoodie.
I've got a white hoodie.
Yeah.
It's called hair. Custard cream.
All right.
Or bourbon?
I can't believe you don't have jammy dodgers as an option.
Emily wants jammy dodgers. She's not allowed them.
Just
Look,
come on.
okay.
But
Right,
if
okay. You're not allowed the wild card because I've known you too long. So,
it's a custard cream. Custard cream all the
every
way.
time. Love you,
Although
Sophie.
my father would call it a babon.
Babon.
Begun calling it a babon.
I would like a babon,
because
please.
it's just hilarious.
My name is
Yes.
Babon.
Tell you what, it's
James
quite
Bourbon.
nice when you dunk it in bourbon.
A bourbon. Oh, a bourbon in bourbon.
Bourbon dunker. Yeah, a bourbon.
Favourite cocktail, just out of interest.
Cocktail.
You must have had a cocktail or two.
Okay, a favourite alcoholic.
Even better.
Whiskey.
Ah!
I'm
Beautiful.
my father's daughter.
You are your father's daughter.
Gary's seen my whiskey collection.
It's not bad. It's not as good as your dad's, but it's not bad.
Well, then I will keep going.
You better do.
Although I had to open a 25-year-old bottle of Glenmorangie on Sunday for my father-in-law.
Yeah.
That's older than me.
So, what's your favourite whiskey?
I recently went to a very cheap town when we were camping, actually. Can't remember where it was. Oh, there was a really nice one. I can't remember what it's called. It was like a fiery one. It's a fiery
Scott, were
one.
you in Wales?
No, I wasn't in Wales. I was in the Peaks.
In the Peak
It
District?
wasn't a cinnamon fiery one, was it?
No, it wasn't a cinnamon one.
Oh.
I kind of remember. But I'll take a Scottish... I'll take whatever's in your dad's cupboard, to be quite honest, at this point.
How wonderful to meet you, Sophie.
Yes.
Yes, it's been lovely. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Stop it.
No, I mean it. It's great. And thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know we've taken up far too much of your evening, even as it is. You need to go and sit down and have a nice whiskey.
Yes, I will.
Can you get one from the neighbour? As your neighbour who's in Bali?
No, she's not a drinker.
That's no bloody good.
No good.
You can stop her using your Wi-Fi. I'm going to say, so no, it's been delightful.
And as Gary's found out, I'm not bad at connecting people.
He's very good at connecting people, actually, to be fair. So yes, thank you so much. I must admit, it's when you hear about the motion capture industry, you kind of have this preconception of like, it's boring, it's repetitive, it's not fun. But it sounds to me like it's none of those things, actually.
not
all and none of those things. No, because I think it is, isn't it? If you find something you really enjoy, you have to leap in.
Like podcasting.
And I think you've leapt in.
Yeah, come at it with the right attitude. Yeah, right attitude, and you can make anything fun.
That's true.
Really and truly.
Yeah.
And the right people as well. People are so happy and they love their jobs. So why wouldn't I love my job as well? Make their day a bit better.
That's true. So is there any final thing you want to say? Oh, tell us a bit more about, have you got a website?
Not yet. It's on the way.
It's on the way.
In the works. I'm a LinkedIn girly now. I use my LinkedIn quite a bit.
Did we connect? Did we connect? I'm pretty sure we did.
More than likely. I am avid on LinkedIn for just clicking the connect button. I think you might be quite helpful.
Yeah.
Look at my things. Yeah.
Have you found that useful?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So listen, Sophie, I'm going to
LinkedIn.
call this to an end. I think it's probably best.
Yeah.
Might as well. Well, we can. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, and as I say, just to find someone who actually loves what they do and is actually happily doing stuff and wants to expand on this what they've done. It's just so genuinely positive to hear someone who is positive about what they're doing. There's been lots of talk recently, particularly in the games industry and in the VFX industry, there being not a lot going on. Like the freelancing side has been very, very tough for about a year and a half. And I heard there's one of the things that someone got told was survive to 25, as in like 2025, not being 25.
Yeah, that was the FMX. That was the FMX thing.
And it is difficult, but to at least have that, and I think a lot of people are like doing more than one job to do that, survive until 25. But at least you haven't lost any luster for what you're doing, and that's bloody brilliant. I'm so happy about that. Yeah, I really am.
Yeah.
You're a top person, and you deserve to do brilliant things.
Oh, thank you.
It's all right.
No, thank you very much for having me on. I do appreciate it. Like, people taking me seriously after, coming out of university and this being a complete newbie and having no idea quite what I was doing. Just be positive and turn up and have a great attitude and make people's day easier. It's not difficult. Stand in the right place, do the right thing. It's just what needs doing. So yeah, I very much appreciate having some wonderful people I can go to and be like, how do I do this? Gary, John, help.
Always here. But that's one of the the thing is we're always here for every single. We spend a lot of time with students, and we're always there for them. And we know it's the hardest part is literally going from finishing university to getting a job. And there's this bridging stuff that we're kind of working towards to creating something which will help fill that gap and give people that connectivity so that they can go out and with confidence get a job. And that's all we care about, really. Right.
Yes. Anyway, on that bombshell.
Yeah.
As old Jezza would say.
So yeah, so again, I'll say it last time. Sophie, thank you so much. We're going to sign off now, so you can go and sit down and have a glass of whiskey on a more comfortable sofa, surrounded by your friends.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much.
Sophie, thank you so much. John, we better call it a night because I'm going on too much now. I'm waffling far too much. So I'm going to say good night, Sophie.
Good night, Gary.
Good night, Sophie.
Good night, John.
Night, John.
Night,
Gary.
Gary.
You meant to say Mary Ellen, but that's fine.
And you're supposed to say John Boy.
I haven't seen the Waltons for years. I'd love to watch that again. So anyway, it's a good night from me.
And a good night from him.
Night. See you, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
About you.
This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license. Any opinions stated during the course of this podcast belong purely to myself and to John and are based at the time that we record this. The theme music is My Everything by DJ Quads. If you like that, and I'm sure you probably did, there is a lot more of his great stuff which you can find at soundcloud.com/DJ Quads, or his music is also promoted by www.free-stock-music.com.